Another Real Talk with Geoffrey. Today we're with Jomar Haines. Jomar, I recently met at his studio, Content House. It's in the North Loop of Minneapolis. It's next to the Itasca building, or Acme Comedy. And I was there saying hi to one of my friends, and I just noticed that there was a lot of people, a lot of energy, and I was curious what's going on over there. And the first person that I asked ended up being Jomar, pardon, and gave me a little scoop of what the place is, and I asked if I could connect with you on Instagram, and I appreciate your saying yes.
Yes, sir.
And eventually you kind of reached out to me, and I asked you, hey, I don't really know people like you. I don't know people in, number one, the music world, certainly not the rap scene in Minneapolis. And I thought it'd be an interesting idea to have you come over, and we'd have a meal and have a conversation, because none of my friends, most of my friends, don't really know people like you either. And when I say people, I just mean truly in the music world. But then you eventually invited me to go to a party out there, an open house, which I appreciated that you did that. But since then, just kind of like looking and learning a little bit about you, I realized you're not a music guy. You're a businessman that is in various types of industries. Right now, you're building out Christian Brothers, and I don't know if it's the one shop right now or if it's many, but I noticed that you're doing that. I noticed that you love to gamble. You love to go to the Vikings game. I asked you if you're in what I think, it's really it's the one booth or clubhouse that I've always wanted to go. I've been on the floor. What is that called? The Delta Club?
That is a Delta.
I've done Delta Club a couple times. I've never actually been anywhere else, and I was lucky because I had a buddy that just said, hey, we're not going to use our tickets. But I've always wanted to see what it's like to actually be on those big leather couches. And I just think that that's neat. And, I know that it's unusual to get asked, hey, let's record a dinner. And that's actually what we're about to have. We're going to have steaks. There's other people here as well. And Jomar and we're going to eat, have some cocktails, eat some beef, and talk about life.
Let's do it.
And so I'd like to start, with your permission, who's Jomar as a kid first? And how'd it go from I'm a kid to employing people, to having interns, to having music, being in construction, and really doing what I think is interesting, which is bringing an opportunity for those that want to build content and music in Minnesota, because no one else is doing this right now, not like you.
Well, not like us.
Not actually. Like, yeah. You and your partner.
Yeah. So the not like you thing, I think that's what makes what we do different than anyone else. As far as we'll get to the when I was a kid part, but let's just start where we're at now. Right. What makes what we do special is there's no one guy, right? Our space, our facility belongs to the artists, it belongs to the engineers, anyone that shows interest. When you were outside, you were looking in there and wanted to see what's going on, we invite you in. That's what this spot is for. So it was our way to give back to the community, to give the state-of-the-art equipment to the kids at their fingertips so they can operate and have opportunities that we didn't have.
Sure.
So as a kid myself, I grew up in the inner city, very poor, but we had a great upbringing. We didn't know we were poor. Everyone around us was poor, and so as we get older and we go to school and we get to see stuff outside of our world, now we begin to see, okay, now there's things that we don't have. There's There's things that our parents don't have. There's things that we don't know because we weren't taught. And so I've been on a mission ever since I was exposed to the outside world, and people are actually having things and being successful. So, you know, just seeing that and coming from what we had enough money where we got to go to schools where people had money, but we didn't necessarily.
Where was that school?
Well, I went to all the high schools.
Yep.
In Minneapolis, Edison, Henry,
Yep.
Brooklyn Center, all the north side of the city schools. I was I wasn't a well-behaved kid growing up, so I was suspended a lot, made a lot of mistakes, and also that brings to where I'm at today is my mistakes and what I learned from my mistakes and how I use my mistakes to better me and better my community and put myself in a position to actually win, right? And so that's mostly is why I accepted this invitation for a chance to be able to speak and tell my story, because there's a lot of guys that think, okay, well, you make a mistake and you get off on the wrong track, and now you have to stay on that way of life because you have a felony, and now it's harder to get a job, and some guys use that as an excuse to continue getting in trouble and not try to change their life. And I feel like my mission, why I'm here, is to show guys an alternative. I'm from where you're from. You can do the right thing. You can be successful. You can drive all the best cars, wear the best jewelry by doing the right thing. Hard work, dedication, being honest, being a good person.
And creativity.
You know? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You know, most of every one of us has some talent, right? That needs to be unearthed, for lack of better words. You know, and so sometimes when you get off track and you abandon that, I was fortunate enough. It took me getting in trouble to me going to jail and getting out, and then to find my passion again, to find my talent again. But long ago, I abandoned music and went to the streets to make fast money because I thought, you know, that was the way. But I learned.
It was a way, but it's not a good way.
It was a way to learn a lesson.
It's a way to learn lessons.
It's a way to learn a lesson. If you think that you're going to beat the system and that you're going to be successful doing the wrong thing.
Very, very temporary.
Yes, it's for sure temporary.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm a father of 4 now.
Wow.
So I don't live for myself. My decisions now fall on everybody that I'm responsible for, that looks towards me for guidance and for any kind of help, or just for me to be there, you know, as the figure I am for our family. So I can't make decisions like I used to. And
I met one of your sons, but remind me his name.
Jomar, we have the same name.
Yeah.
And he's the artist. He's also a reason why, you know, I'm into this facility, for him, give him a way so he can practice his craft and hone his craft and, you know, be great. You know?
Do you want another one?
I would love another one, Geoffrey.
Sabrina, can we have another one of these?
Please, Sabrina.
Yep. Thank
Appreciate
you, baby.
it.
I'm loving the chat, guys.
Huh?
I'm loving the chat.
So this is my camera here.
That's your
All
camera.
right.
Yeah, but don't stare at it.
I'm talking to you right here.
Yeah. The so the
I'm gonna get comfortable soon. I'm almost there.
You got 4 kiddos.
Yeah.
What are their ages?
Man, I
And
got
do you keep close with everybody?
Huh?
Do you keep close with all
Oh
your kids?
yeah. We're family first.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I got an oldest daughter. She's in college. She's at NDSU.
Okay.
She's 18.
Good school.
She's 18 years old.
Yep.
And she's very spoiled. We'll just leave it at that. I'm not gonna get, because she might see this, so. But
That's all right.
But we are close, but we haven't, me and her, we haven't.
What's her name?
Her name is Brianna.
Brianna.
Beautiful.
Brianna, don't be so hard on your pops.
Yes, tell her. Yeah,
What
but
is
then
what is she studying? Or what does she think she wants to study? At 18, it's all generals.
yeah, she's studying parties, what it sounds like to me. Every time she calls.
Good for her.
Yeah, there's a party going on, so I don't know what she's really studying. But I got my 2 twins.
Okay.
They're 5.
Wow.
Beautiful girls.
Both girls? Do they look
Yep.
the same?
They
Are they
do.
identical?
They're not identical.
Yeah.
But you couldn't tell them apart. No one can tell them apart except me and their mom. So, but they're not. They're fraternal twins.
Okay.
And so I got my 3 girls and 1 son.
Okay.
So I had for the first half of my life, I had 2 kids.
Yeah.
Then out of the blue, 5 years ago, and it was 2 more. So I went from 2 to 4.
That's a big jump, actually.
Yeah, the funny thing
That's
about
a stressful
oh
job.
yeah, so much so I called child support and I asked, can I get a bundle deal
Yeah.
for the kids? They thought it was hilarious, but thank you, I appreciate it, Sabrina. That was quite rude. But
These are good?
yeah, the more I-
Casamigos. And sarsaparilla and soda water.
yeah.
Yeah. So the kiddos, where's everybody now? Is everybody living in the city still?
No, my son is in Coon Rapids, Blaine
Okay.
area.
Yep. That's who I met. Because you
Yeah.
only have the one boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then my daughters are twins. They're
Yep.
in East St. Paul.
Okay.
Or West St. Paul.
Okay.
One of the 2.
Yep.
Yeah, I get them confused.
And are you okay? If they're both 5, do they ever come into the studio?
Oh yeah, yeah. They
Really?
Yeah. And what the crazy thing about it is, they never seen the equipment before.
Yeah.
And they come in.
The equipment is nonsense.
Yeah.
Like you have put a lot of heat in those rooms.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And for a 5-year-old kid though, they come in the studio and
I'd be worried that they break something on accident.
No, they one of them runs right to the keyboard.
Wow.
And one runs right to the microphone.
Wow.
Like they know.
Yeah.
You know, and so they always take that position.
Are they singing? Can they sing?
Well,
a
they
They're
do
trying?
gibberish into
Yeah.
the microphone. They're
Yeah.
attempting to follow dad, but my son was the same way. It's like my dad had a recording studio when I was young.
little? Interesting.
Yep. So he had my son at the keyboard all the time. Same way, he'd run right to the keyboard, put the headphones
Can you play
on.
the piano?
No.
But your son can, a little bit.
No, he can't play it.
But but he can do beats and he can produce a little bit.
No, he's just an artist, right? He's a writer,
Yep.
not just an
And
artist.
he's a rapper.
He's an artist, he's a writer, he's
Yeah.
a rapper.
Yep.
He produces his own stuff, but we haven't played any of our own instruments.
What's the clique called? What do you guys call yourselves?
BMG,
Big Money?
Big Money Gang.
I love it.
Yeah, Big Money Gang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you were talking earlier, you had said that there was a few pretty big artists that you've spent a little bit of time with that you
Yeah,
worked on.
yeah.
I think people should hear those names because I just think it's interesting.
Yeah, I've worked with Lil Wayne. I did Lil Wayne's Street Dream, a spot date on his tour. I did Juvenile's Slow Motion tour. I did Rick Ross, Young Job.
Was that No Limit back then?
That was a little bit after No Limit.
Okay.
It was a little bit after No Limit. Rick Ross, Young Jock,
Wow.
The Game, Jim Jones.
These are all big names.
Yeah, I can go
Are
on
they
and on.
intimidating?
Fat Joe, Rick Ross. Yeah, I can
Like,
go
is
on.
Rick Ross intimidating or is he
I got a
funny?
Rick Ross story if you want
Yeah.
to hear it.
Yeah,
So
of course
Rick Ross.
I love Rick Ross.
So Rick Ross, when he first came, he was Every Day I'm Hustling.
Yeah.
Was his first single.
Yeah.
And we're doing his spot date here, and he just had a baby.
Okay.
So he flew in town, and I messed this relationship up because I don't have a relationship with Rick Ross anymore.
That can be repaired.
Yeah, because it was
One day.
something simple.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was we did the show, and he wanted some
In Minnesota or Florida?
Minnesota
Okay.
here. It was at Myth nightclub.
Okay.
He wanted some weed to smoke.
Okay.
You know, so at the time there wasn't very much good weed in the town. I tried to find him some weed, couldn't find it,
Okay.
but I had some in my car.
Okay.
Some really good weed. And so as he's going on stage, I tell him I'll go to my car and get the weed for him.
Okay.
So as I'm going out the back, there's like all these cops that are lined up in the backstage area. So I'm like, fuck, as I'm going out. And then that wasn't the only reason I didn't get the weed, to be honest.
Okay.
And then when I got to the car, I pulled the weed out and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna give this guy my last weed and I'm not gonna have no weed to smoke after the show. So he's waiting for me by the entrance of the stage to go up to perform his set. And he's got his cigar broken out.
Oh no.
And so I come in and he gestures the cigar towards me to give him the weed. And I just shook my head like, I don't got it. And he crumpled the cigar up, threw it down. I didn't think he was gonna go on stage, but then he walked on stage and he performed. But he wouldn't get off stage, right? And I got Young Jock coming up behind him. So I literally had to go unplug the sound.
Hold on, Rick Ross was opening for somebody?
Well, at the time, it was Every Day I'm Hustling was a
Yep.
big song, and
Yeah.
Young Jock is It's Going Down.
Okay.
So they both had,
Big
they were
hits.
like co-headliners.
Yep.
It didn't matter to us
Yep.
or the audience who headlined.
That would have been a really wild show.
Yeah, it was good, but we ended up losing money on it. And I haven't talked to Ross since that weed incident. I've talked to his manager,
Yeah.
but not Ross. So that's
So
my
that
Ross
was
story.
so. In that capacity, you guys were his production agency at the Myth. So you were selling the tickets and raising the money, or what?
No, we were just the promoters,
you were the
concert
promoters. Yep.
Yep. Well, we did sell tickets.
Yeah.
But we the
Out of curiosity, what's a show like that for raising tickets? Like, how much did that show bring in revenue?
well, I'll tell you what it cost.
Yeah.
It cost I want to say $25 per artist that show.
Okay.
Plus the rider requirements. The rider requirements is a separate contract.
Yeah.
Everything they need when they come in town, ground transportation, flights, food, wild shit, condoms, fucking the craziest things. So you gotta have that. So probably about 60 grand all in.
Yeah.
Then you gotta do your promotion.
His shows wouldn't be 60 anymore.
No. Way over 60.
No.
But
that was beginning.
Yeah, that was the beginning, and that's why he didn't get the weed. Now, if he was the Rick Ross we won't know now, then I would have gave him my last weed. Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
I've been kicking myself about it ever since.
You can always write him a letter.
I'm sure he doesn't remember. I'm sure it's a way more bigger deal to me than it was.
Because how many years ago was that?
This was in
04, 5?
No, this is 06.
06?
No, 06, 05, 06. This is right. Jeezy was 04. You know Jeezy?
Young
Jeezy. When he came out, it was 04. I was doing all his stuff too.
Yeah.
So during the time.
So how did they? But like, why did they choose you guys in Minnesota? Or did you guys get? Oh, okay, you guys brought him up.
Yeah, as a business, as a promoter, we're looking for what the public wants. Mm-hmm. This was our business at the time, so we got our ear to the street. What the public wants to see.
Yeah.
We'll contact that artist, do all the paperwork, contact the venue.
How big is the group that was managing all of this? You plus how many dudes?
Well, it just so happens one of my same partners
At Content House?
Content House,
Yeah.
Kerwin, we've been working together since for 25, 26 years.
Okay.
And so he was involved. Dante, DJ Inferno, our DJ. He's always been our DJ. Couple more.
Was that the guy that was DJing at Content House?
No, that was DJ Newski.
Okay.
But DJ Inferno is one of my partners.
Okay.
He was there, but he wasn't DJing.
How involved with KMOJ over the years have you been?
Man, my dad was Kid FM for KMOJ. He was the youngest DJ in the United States at the time. I think he was 15, working for KMOJ.
Wow.
So I got relationships with all those DJs, but I have stepped foot in there. When they were in the old building in the projects, the North Minneapolis projects, excuse me, I've been in there once. So I did all my business with B96. When they were with Radio 1.
Yep.
Before they were sold, is when I did all my.
It's sad when they got sold.
Yeah, it's just business though.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen.
Yeah.
Just it's where we are, the market, the soft market. So for music, we miss a lot of tour dates here. Radio stations get sold because there's just not enough people buying the music.
Nobody's
there's not
buying
enough
music anymore.
consumers here. There's just not enough of it for them.
Spotify is not plugging that hole anymore.
No.
Yeah, I was listening to Ben Affleck. He was talking about how the reason movies used to be so good is that they had two stages of being able to raise revenue. It was in the movie theater, and then after the films would come out, everybody would be buying the Blu-rays and the DVDs, and it was like another big push. But now, the theater's lackluster. You can't raise anything, and he was essentially breaking down how, he'd put in 50 million in producing, and then another 50 million in all of the promotion of it. But that 100 wasn't so scary because they could pull so much out of the movie theater, but then they pulled so much out of the DVD and Blu-ray sales. But now, when everything just goes out to streaming, the streaming isn't really raising anything anymore. It's like we're talking just like such a minuscule amount. And he says because of that, the quality of the films has gotten like really generic, and they're not taking chances anymore. And they're way have reduced the budgets. The actors are getting paid less, and then obviously like all the support staff, like the guys that are like filming and the engineers and the direct, everybody essentially has taken a big cut. But I'm curious how, like, are you guys doing the big push on Spotify, or like what's a recording artist do these days? Like how do you get a big break? And is it all YouTube? Is it like everything's packaged up just to hope that maybe there's, and I don't know how many views it even takes for YouTube to start like punching out revenue. Is it like 10 million or 100 million like visits?
I think everything as far as the music is shifting into the artist's favor.
Yeah.
And it used to be in the label's favor.
It was always the label's
Meaning that you pretty much had to go through a label to get exposure, to grow your audience, to do with anything.
But they also had all the connections with the radio stations too.
Yeah.
And it seems like that doesn't exist anymore because radio doesn't seem to be as important.
Yeah, radio's going away fast. And so, but for us and for the artists, it's a good time because now it's like the independents are shooting up. You can grow your own audience on IG and YouTube, and you can put up your own stuff and buy. If you have capital, if you have money, you don't need a label.
Really?
We have no intentions on taking any deals from anyone with any of our music because we don't need the money. So we can grow.
So you're really like keeping this as a cooperative with no label, like taking their, and I don't know what they would normally take, 20%, 30%, or whatever it was. I know these are like complicated like recording contracts and such, but you're just controlling all of it now.
There's just no incentive for us personally, but that doesn't. I'm not speaking for all the artists that we develop or that we deal with, but for us personally, it doesn't make sense for us to sign any kind of deals.
So what's the path? Is it growing is it growing up to 10,000 IG and then exploding out? Like where, like how many subscribers or how many followers is it to really become like to have traction?
Well, you gotta ask yourself that because so let's just say you're in the music business or you're just an investor, right? And let's just say we're deciding to think about investing in music, right? And so now it's just about finding someone that we can put into the marketplace, right? Well, where we can secure our investment. Okay. So how will we do that? Do we go find a guy with the best talent? We could do that. That's A. Or B, we could find a guy with the biggest audience. That means he's been doing the most business. And that means that this guy has a lot of attention on him already. So it used to be the guy with the most talent has the upper hand. But now it's the guy that's doing the best business, has the most exposure, has grown his audience on his own. So if you can do that, we're gonna put our money behind you, not the guy that raps like Eminem.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of guys that are talented, but
But they're introverts.
They're introverts, and that's a big
Social
deal.
media introvert, where they're not trying, they're not really pushing that. That's just become such a huge component of all of this now.
Well, sometimes it's because they just don't understand, and they think because back in the day, the old motto would be, I wanna rap, and or sing. I'm gonna do such a good job, and hopefully I can catch someone's attention, and then I'll miraculously get a deal.
And then all of a sudden on the radio.
Yeah. Now, and even the situations that you see that seem like an overnight success, it only seems that way, and the labels have been marketing these guys to make it seem like that. The whole time that these guys been signed 3-4 years and been sitting on the shelf, but when they're ready to take them off, and it seems like, oh man, they just came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Not the case. That's not what's happening.
There was a lot of pre-planning and marketing dollars once they're ready to explode them out, and that doesn't exist anymore. Like that, like it's not like when they're known like it's more organic. It seems like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my advice to any artist just getting started would be grow your audience.
Grow your audience.
Grow your audience.
It's not easy.
I mean, it's
Like even I'm trying to grow my audience, and I do it all for real estate purposes because I'm trying to just gain exposure, meet more people, and serve them, right? But I'm not a girl.
well, yeah.
And like it's so great, and I'm not musically inclined. It's like it's the algorithm prefers you if you're a pretty girl. I'll say that right now.
Well, so let's start with that, the girl thing. If you compare yourself to other people and what they're doing, and at the rate they're growing, then you're selling yourself short. So us as men, we can't compare ourselves to women.
Not at all.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we know how it works.
Yeah.
We know why they're getting so. I got a girl.
The eyes are easier.
Yeah,
They get
so
the eyes
it's
easier.
apples and oranges, right? So that's not even a thing. But let's just take you, for example, and what you do. It's just marketing, right? It's just marketing.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me good at what I do. Construction, I made $1 million in everything I've ever done. Lawn care, construction.
Out of curiosity, like when you had your landscape business, when you were in the lawn care, how many? Because is that company still going, or did you close that one down?
I closed it down. And it was one of my biggest companies.
Commercial or residential?
Residential and commercial.
Okay.
And that was one of my big mistakes. It was mostly commercial.
Okay. Like apartments or
Apartments,
or
offices,
everything?
Dairy Queens.
Yep.
I had Orono. I had Kevin Garnett and Orono, his property
You
there.
had Garnett?
Yeah, his Orono one.
Wow.
Yeah, I know Garnett, and I grew up with his.
He was so good in that movie with Adam Sandler.
Yeah, the Uncut Gems. So yeah, I did his property. I got a crazy story about Garnett and that property and why our contract ended. I'll have to tell you off the camera.
Yeah, okay, that's all right.
But
Is he a good dude?
Oh yeah, Garnett. I got nothing bad to say about Garnett. Yeah, his little brother is not so great, but Garnett, I got nothing but good things to say about Garnett.
Yeah.
He was just a client of mine.
Yeah.
Though really.
Like just a big banger in Orono somewhere or something like that?
Say it again?
He just had a big banger, like beautiful big house.
Oh, his house is $8 million, all glass. I'm surprised it's out in this area somewhere. Isn't it? Orono's around here, isn't it?
Orono's further north.
Okay. Yep.
We're
I
Excelsior.
had Orono vibes when I was coming up your driveway.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
It's a lot of gravel. It feels like it, doesn't it?
No, it's big money vibes.
Yeah, we're really proud of this place.
Now tell me this.
We have the coyotes every night. Every night we can hear them.
Well, tell me this.
Yeah.
Do you gotta snowplow your own driveway?
Yeah.
What do you do?
My buddy Corey,
Yeah.
I love him. He does a good job, and he's also doing an office building that I own in Mountain.
You haven't. So you only been here 3 years, you said.
Well, we've owned it since 2019, but
so you haven't had a bad winter here.
No, but I don't want bad winters.
No, you
anymore,
don't,
so don't
because
jinx
of that
it.
driveway.
Yeah.
Because I did. I'm trying to tell.
It's gravel.
When we came up here, not even the gravel. It's just the length of it.
Yeah, it's a
and
long.
if you get a bad snowstorm,
it's hard to get out.
Oh my God.
We do not have cars that are not four-wheel drive.
Yes, sir.
And the car that I love that's not here right now, it's an old 2012 G-Wagon. I bought it from Brenton Hayden that used to own and operate Renter's Warehouse. Remember that company?
Yeah, I do.
Sort of. I don't know if...
I remember.
Yeah. So I sat in it years ago. In between college semesters, I worked for that company, and I sat in it, and I always wanted one since I was little. And he threw it on Facebook Marketplace, and I brought Sabrina and Benedetta. We flew out to Montana, then we drove out to Wyoming, and then we drove it home. The problem was it had 24s on it because he had it down in Miami, and it had low profile tires, and that was a long drive, and I was like, babe, can you please drive a little bit? And she drove for like 30 minutes, maybe only 20. Because out there it's like, I don't know, it's like 80 something miles per hour in between Wyoming and Minnesota, you know. And she's like, I can't do it anymore. So I drove the whole way. But that was actually a nice trip. What was interesting was Benedetta being 3.5, her car seat is obviously always lower from the window well, or the window frame. And for the first time, she could see over it. And so the whole time she's like, it was just beautiful because she kept saying like, I can see everything. I can see everything. We've got all the animals, and I'm not used to Wyoming, and
that was great for her.
Well, it was beautiful. It was just a long drive, you know, but ever since then I'm having nothing but problems with this thing. It's an old wagon, you know, like they are known to have electrical issues.
I had my G-Wagon
Yeah.
for 2 days before I brought it back.
They're expensive to own.
I saw yours on
Yeah.
social media
Yeah.
and had night flashbacks. I was like, oh my.
They're fun to drive. They eat gas. They feel good. I've wanted one since I was in 5th grade. Now I'm not so sure if it was the right decision. I'll fix it, whatever. I still love it. But you know, it's just a car. That car that you're driving is a beautiful car.
Say it again?
That car that you've got out there is a beautiful car.
Oh, that's her car.
Oh, that's her car.
Yeah,
That's a beautiful
I
car.
crashed my car yesterday.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What happened?
I got a blowout
Oh,
on my
no.
Porsche. And
Just the tires were too small or what?
no, I don't know. It just blew out and I hit the wall.
Oh no.
Yeah, I hit the wall.
Well, you don't have any scratches. Where did that happen, on the highway?
Yep, 169.
You're okay.
Yeah, I'm great.
New tires, new wheels.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to BMG. When did BMG start? Because I'm assuming BMG started way before Content House. Were they sort of growing together at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, BMG started years ago. Years ago, it just started off as me as being an artist, and basically my alter ego kind of thing. It was more of a personal thing, and just me and my friends, and then grew into music. So that's been the name of our group for some years before the Content House.
Yeah.
And just on the music making side, basically.
On the music side, how many of you guys are in that group, in that clique? Like, is it you and 2 other, or is it like a big group of like there's 10, 12, 15 people?
I
Like
mean,
making
so
the
we
music.
have BMG Publishing,
Okay.
which is handles the releasing and the publishing of the music that comes out of our place. So in that sense, it will be multiple people involved under the publishing side.
And do they know the kind of equipment that they have? Because I went and I started researching a little bit of this. Like there's no joke in the quality of stuff you have in those studios.
No, it's
like these are world-class studios
Yes, sir.
now.
We have one of 5. We're one of 5 studios that in the world, well, I won't say the world, in the United States, that have the ability to process Taylor Swift vocals.
It's just crazy.
Which means is that, so this piece of equipment that we have is $75,000, and
What is it? Is it
it's
a mixing board?
it's
or-
a compressor.
It's a compressor.
It's a compressor. It's a part of the vocal chain.
Okay.
Which would be a mic and a preamp and a compressor sometimes. But let's just say Taylor Swift needs her vocals ran. She'll call the company that makes that equipment and say who has it, and we're one of the studios that could do her stuff. So we got ourselves set up where there's no one stuff that we can't do.
And nobody else in Minnesota has it.
Oh, no. We have Jay-Z's vocal chain. We have J. Cole's vocal chain. And Beyonce's vocal chain. So if you have theirs, you have everyone else's pretty much. And their vocal chain is the best, the microphone.
And are these people starting to come through when they're in town just to like put down some tracks?
We have other celebrities.
Yeah.
For lack of better words, we'll call them celebrities, other artists that are signed to major labels, have budgets that came worked with us. And so that's why we have the equipment that we have.
Are you allowed to share like what booth time is in those things, or you don't want to say? Because I'm assuming that's a cost, right? 'Cause,
Yeah,
like,
I
what
don't
else?
really deal in that,
Yeah.
so I don't want to say.
Yep.
Because it changes. It varies on.
Depends on the artist and
And it
certain-
depends on what you're utilizing in that room also. You know, there's certain pieces of equipment that we just don't turn on unless you're paying a lot of money.
Wow.
Yeah, because it just costs too much. Like you got a Rolls Royce in there, you're not starting it up for anybody
Yeah.
that comes in
I'm
there.
assuming that there's like weird insurance policies and weird warranties that you gotta like just buy. You don't just buy this piece of equipment for 75 and then not have it like wildly insured and all.
No,
this
we
other
had
stuff.
it wildly insured
Yeah.
before we had any of it.
Wow.
It was one of the things we had to do to even get in that space.
Yeah.
We had to carry a certain amount of insurance, which is $2 million. We had to do unique things like show our workers' comp and stuff like that for our employees before we ever even had the employees. You know, so there was a field.
This is like a just a properly structured like corporation, like
Yeah,
S corp or however you guys have it structured.
Yeah, it's a LLC right now, but the building, you know, us being the culture we're from and how, you know, how we appear and people make judgments off that. We had the feeling that the building didn't necessarily want us in there right off the bat.
They weren't used to a bunch of rappers being in and out all the time. It's just a new thing for them.
Well,
and they're dealing with it.
Yeah.
But you also breathe life into the
Yeah.
place.
Oh yeah, we.
Ah,
Thank you. Oh wow. Thank you so much. Sabrina, thank you. I appreciate it.
Can I have some black pepper, baby? Are you okay with rare?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we made the sauce. Thank you.
Now, what's the sauce?
It's like a special sauce. It's good.
Right here, the sauce.
Jomar, I appreciate your being here.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Nastrovia.
Wow.
How was it? It's okay?
Great.
See, I need cracked pepper.
What's she doing? Playing with the baby?
Benedetta?
So you broke your Porsche?
Yeah.
Listen, you see that Ford Lightning out there?
Yeah. You want to trade?
Sale.
It's for sale.
It'll fit you really nice. With
No,
your
I'm.
saddle.
He's joking, but I'm thinking about grabbing something like that.
I'm actually not. I'm not kidding. I just bought a diesel.
Can I see it? How much do you want for it?
You gotta, Stephen, you gotta tell them the story of how you got that big one.
Did you see that Sierra HD 2500 GMC out there?
Oh yeah.
So I won that for free.
You won it?
Wait, that's why I'm selling the Lightning.
What do you
I got you,
mean?
man. I'll get you that Lightning.
What do you mean you won it? Won it?
I entered a fundraiser supporting a child who was going blind and needed clinical trials. So I wanted to, support the fundraiser, and I get a FaceTime from this guy. He said, "By the way, you won this truck."
Get out of here.
Dude, I'm not kidding.
Yeah, but
So the Lightning's all yours.
that's
now.
not the whole story. Stephen,
What's the
what came with the truck?
Oh, a trailer and a Can-Am side by side.
What?
The
Wow.
Lightning's all yours, bro.
Congratulations, man.
Today you're gonna drive off with that Lightning.
I want the all the stuff you won, the trailer, and all, the fly
but-
stuff.
But they wrapped it for him too.
Did they?
Yeah. They wrapped it for him. It's
So-
it's so crazy.
That's yeah. I never.
Stephen, what's the organization? What do they actually do?
Race Against Blindness.
Yeah.
Racing Against Blindness. I was following them for several months, supporting them, giving my tithing.
This
I'm a
is
Christian,
delicious.
so I tithe. So I was giving my tithing every month, and they're just like, it was a tearjerker, man. It touched my heart. And then when I won that, I was like, God gives back, man.
No, he does.
That's crazy.
That's a real thing. He does for real.
Stephen's a big tither. His pops is a pastor.
Yeah, that's why you got that, because that doesn't happen for everyone.
No,
I tell you.
definitely not. And it's literally the size of 2 tanks, Stephen. You can go to war with that thing. How was yours? Pretty good?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
We're big into frying in duck fat and tallow.
Yeah,
They make you feel better the next day. If you
Does
fry
it?
stuff in canola or like, you know what this whole like seed oils thing is? When I say seed oils, do you know what I'm even talking about?
No.
So, seed oils are like soybean and canola, and the problem with those oils is they cause a lot of like inflammation. Like everybody's always like, if you go overseas, you go to Europe, for instance, why is everybody in so much better shape? It's because they don't really use a lot of soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, which the reason we get big, that's your body just like having an inflammatory response, and you just hold on to this weight because your body's like, oh, I don't know what to do, and you put fat around your problems. Like fat's really like a way to encapsulate the bullshit in your body. Whereas tallow and duck fat, the fat profile that it is, well, it's almost nourishing. So, you know, for years, generations really, we were eating saturated fats. And for years they thought saturated fats causes heart disease. It's not causing heart disease. It's the other stuff that we're adding. It's the soybean oil that's causing all this stuff. And I don't want to hate on, you know, our farmers that are, you know, raising corn and beans. That stuff is just not that healthy. Yeah, baby. Hi. Do you have earrings on? All right. No, this is good.
Really good.
No,
So the duck fat, who got you on that? Your mother or your wife?
I got that on Sabrina. Because I was like, it was me that we need to start trying this, because over COVID, I started to think about so much about like health and like what's negatively affecting us, and like why in the 90s did the rate of the American diet, like why did all of a sudden so many people get sick so much faster? And a lot of it has to do with, you know, even McDonald's used to fry all their French fries in tallow, but in the 90s they swapped to soybean oil because it was cheaper and it was easier to deal with. It was easier to distribute big buckets of soybean oil to all these places, so it was just a big cost decision. However, it's completely kind of like, it's changed human health for the worse. You know, people used to think like, oh, veggie oil, it's healthier for you. It doesn't affect your heart, but it affects everything else. And it does affect your heart poorly. So the more we eat meat, beef, the more it's cooked in tallow, the healthier I feel, the less tired and sedated I feel. And like, I don't know who, if you eat out mostly or if you eat at home or whoever cooks.
I eat at home mostly.
I would just encourage, try pivoting to less veggie oil and to more of that like tallow and duck fat. Because when you're deep frying in this stuff, you don't feel sluggish anymore. You feel good, you know.
I barely ever eat deep fried food. Only on occasions like this.
Yeah.
I usually eat pretty healthy. I work out every day.
You work out a lot.
Every day.
Yeah. Where you go to a Lifetime? Or?
I go to Dakota across from the casino.
Yep.
Right there. I did go to Lifetime, but more convenient for us to go to our own gym.
Yep.
It's right across the street.
Is that a nice gym?
Not really.
No, it's just okay. Basic.
Not compared to Lifetime, it's not.
Yeah.
I complain every day about it, so.
Have you ever met Bram, the CEO of Lifetime, or do you know who he is?
Not particularly, but we have a corporate partnership with Lifetime.
Do you? You're gonna do some of their content too?
No, well, my partner, who I was telling you about, he owns a sport company.
Which one?
I'd rather not say
Okay.
right now, but he we train NBA players, and we have corporate partnership with Lifetime,
Cool.
and his son is going to the NBA next year.
Wow.
He's well.
Who's he gonna play for?
Who does he play for now?
Yeah.
Texas Tech.
Who's scooping him up?
Kerwin Walton, Texas Tech. He hit 7 3-pointers last night, or 2 nights ago, on their opener. And he's going to the league next year. So that's how we got our contracts also for, I told you, Netflix and Adidas, because his son is an NIL player. So we're already creating content. That's for these major brands.
The doors that open once you start just getting yourself out there. Yeah.
I got some partners that are about their business. It's like I said, what makes us special, there's no one guy.
Yeah.
There's so much intellectual property involved in what we do, you know? And so if someone built a facility across the street from us
Yeah.
and spent twice as much money, it wouldn't affect us, because what we're doing different is we're working as a group. You know, there's no big me, little you. There's no owner.
Does that ever get messy?
Has a moment. Has a moment.
That's probably not the best way to frame it. More like, does stuff move slower when there's no hierarchy?
Well, everyone knows there technically is, but everybody involved is trusted and capable of making decisions, tough decisions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, it does. We've had instances.
Is your eyes different?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now.
Yeah.
How old is she?
3.5.
3.5.
Yeah. She wanted to show off her ballerina outfit.
Don't they all?
Yeah. So, how often are you doing projects with Target, with all these companies? Is that monthly or quarterly?
We haven't technically started doing the content.
Yeah.
We haven't even had our grand opening yet. So,
Well, these have all been just like soft open houses.
Well, yeah, and so we basically had our meetings with the companies that we're going to be dealing with, and they basically greenlit our facility, told us don't cut any corners, make it, spend as much as we can, get all the best stuff. So we're in that place now, where we're acquiring everything, putting it together, and getting ready for our actual launch, putting all the logistics together. You know, we don't really got any of the operating procedures that should be there, and we have
In time.
Yeah, we have some partners that are in Texas and other intellectual property around the country. We have some high-ranking Muslims that are. I probably shouldn't say that either, but very, 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 very wealthy. They're from Saudi Arabia, and so one of our partners is over there now. So we got really big investors that are investing stuff. So we're in the middle.
Are they patient or are they quite aggressive?
Oh, they're very patient, and like if you ask, these are the kind of guys that you can't go with a $5 million idea. It's got to be a $50 million idea when you're dealing with billionaires. You know, $50 million, $100 million idea. So, and you know, what we're doing is only
They're very long-term thinking.
Yeah, but this just doesn't move their needle. If you're talking $5 million, it won't move. Just
Yeah.
it doesn't move.
It wouldn't excite them. It wouldn't mean anything to them.
It would do more for
Because
us.
that could be a weekly spend on just like stuff or something.
Yeah. So right now we're looking for land so we can build a theater. We're gonna build our own theater.
In Minnesota?
Yeah. Yep. So we can do our own.
West or south, closer to Pryor?
I don't have the details. I know we have the money.
Yeah.
And I heard we have people looking. you know.
When you say theater, are you thinking like a new myth kind of a thing, but on?
Exactly.
Wow.
Smart guy. Most people
Is
don't.
Myth even doing anything right now,
No,
or is it
that's
just an
because
empty building?
it's just logistics.
It's
You
way
know,
out there.
It's way out, and now before when Myth was doing real good, they had no competition.
Yeah.
But now we have Vanquish downtown. My uncle happens to own it, and the Armory. My uncle happens to own the Armory, and so now
What's his name?
Ned and Rich.
Ned Abdul?
But you know,
Is Ned your uncle?
no, Butch Be Rich,
Yeah.
his partner is my uncle. You know him?
I've met Ned a couple times. I'm incredibly impressed by the guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got.
I mean,
Ned's.
he's much like I have met people that have worked with Ned, and they have essentially said that if he makes a decision and then he shakes the hand, that will always be executed. It's irrelevant if the contracts are there yet. He will just perform on it.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's be honest. The Armory was sitting there vacant, doing nothing for how many years? I mean, I heard that for like a decade it was just storing chairs or something crazy.
Yeah.
And so he and obviously like your uncle, like what has happened there is like, I mean, it's kind of a gift to the upper Midwest.
Yeah.
I mean, all the music, all the entertainment that facility has provided to the upper Midwest it's actually kind of profound.
So now they have two facilities.
Like what an asset to own.
Yeah. So they have the big Armory, which is 6,000 and above, and then they have the Vanquish, which is 1,200 to closely.
I've never been there.
So what we're doing is going to build an in-between facility, the one that holds 2,000 to 3, the myth size.
But on the west side.
I don't know where it's going to be yet.
Stephen, have you had any yet?
I had some. It's
It's
so
good?
delicious.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Gosh, the steak is about to be
Good.
I don't want to sound like an alcoholic because you ask her for one.
You want another one?
Yeah.
Sabrina, can you make Jomar another one?
Please, and thank you.
Can I have I'm gonna grab a beer. Okay. Can I have one of those Spanish ones? Yeah, thank you. Well, that's interesting to be a part of, I don't know, in the infancy of it all, right? You know, and to be kind of like riding that wave. Because there's no reason that Minnesota shouldn't be like unbelievably known worldly.
Oh, it's
right?
coming.
Yeah,
That's why we're doing what we're doing.
it's strange to me because, you know, I know everybody loves Prince because of decades of whatever, like, and I hope nobody gets offended by it. It's just like I don't need to hear every Prince track. Like he's a great artist, you know. But that was like one studio in Chanhassen.
Yeah.
I was always like it's either, you know, create some music for some of the artists and have the parties in Chanhassen, and then play it out in downtown. But downtown seems a little sleepy with the music scene. It doesn't seem like we're pumping out artists and musicians, but the talent exists. There's just not a lot of places for them to build that craft, but you're doing that.
Yeah, we're
Like
trying.
in the beginning of it.
I'm glad you
Which is-
touched on that, the Chanhassen Paisley Park thing. We're trying to bring that whole vibe to downtown.
Yeah.
You know, so there's never been a place like Prince's place.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to duplicate.
It was just a weird location for it, you know. I'm not like, I don't want to like be perceived that I'm shitting on it. It's just that it's funny that it's in the suburbs, and Chanhassen is about as vanilla as you can get, you know. Like, it's so white bread, you know. It's like it's just.
But you know,
like,
he makes that kind of music.
Yeah.
Prince music is universal. So it's pop music. So when you're dealing with different genres, you're dealing with pop. You can be at Chanhassen and do it.
Your guys' music's a little bit more aggressive.
Yeah. So it'll be a little tougher for us to be in Chanhassen.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
But Prince, it worked for Prince. You know, worked great for Prince.
A lot of ladies in their late 50s would be calling for no reason whatsoever, but just because they're seeing something that they're not used to. Yeah.
Yeah.
How'd you find that location? Because is
My
the
part-
building called Itasca or what's it? It's next to Itasca.
It is, the building is a task.
Yeah, yeah.
My partners found the building. I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels impressive in there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many studios are in there. 3? Like
3,
recording
A,
studios?
B, and C,
Yeah.
and then our multi-purpose room.
Yep.
And then we're moving upstairs soon.
What's gonna be upstairs?
We're gonna have different sets, more. We're outgrowing that area quick, so we'll have more.
People
of
just
everything.
keep coming in?
Yeah. I mean, just as far as the creators itself, the space to work.
Yeah.
Now we have 3 rooms.
It's a
and
good
multi-purpose.
location though. There's parking across the street. There's plenty of parking on the street. So just like the strategic placement of it, just from the ease of people being able to get there, it's actually like a hole-in-one spot.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Thank you.
Sure.
Cheers.
Okay, so then what's next? How much time do we put into these Christian Brothers, tire shops?
Oh, Christian Brothers takes about a year to build.
Each one of those is a year
Well,
built
we can get them done sooner than a year, but we like to give ourselves a year, usually from breaking ground to finishing a project. It takes about a year on average. Usually I'm building apartment buildings.
Really?
Right, that's my favorite thing is to build.
What role in that are you?
Depends. So I'm a contractor. I provide machine operators to every site, laborers. I'm also one of my employees, so I also show up on the site. And so that company is something that, like I told you when it's a company that I basically built to be able to provide jobs to those that.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on this. This is important.
So so the inner city, the second chance offenders, those guys that are good guys that made a mistake.
Well, they got caught.
And they got caught. Yeah, they got caught.
Mistake or not, they got caught.
They got caught for
Yeah.
their mistake, and we're helping preventing recidivism and keeping the
Do
community.
they like it? Do they feel like they're full of purpose when
Yeah,
they're?
you gotta like it when
Yeah.
you make all the mistakes that you make and you're not working at McDonald's, So everybody wants to avoid that. So if you can be working in construction or doing something where it pays high, it's hard. If you don't go through me, it'll be hard for you to get on a site or any good job that pays like anybody would.
Because nobody's gonna take the chance on
No,
these
they're
guys.
not. Yeah, because they're high. I come from where they come from.
Yeah.
I've been that guy, and I can see them now. I turn down guys all the time too for when people that don't.
If they're too wild.
No, if you don't, if I can tell that you don't have genuine change in your mind, and I can tell that.
Yeah.
If you're just trying to dupe the system,
Yeah.
and maybe you're in
Because
probation.
it's obvious if it's theater or not.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell because I know what it takes to not be that guy, and if it never works out for the guys just trying to dupe the system, dupe their PO, or just trying to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
So someone that's not serious about change isn't going to be a good fit for me.
You have to if they got caught and they were in for a while, my assumption is every once in a while they're just passionate people and they probably are pretty aggressive. Do you ever have to, I don't know, put these guys in place and remind them, hey,
oh man, I
quit fucking around here?
Yeah, no. So I had this guy. He's a really good friend of mine now.
Yeah.
I just hired him. His name, Mike King. This guy's probably somewhat close. He looks 7 foot tall, 300 something, bro. Huge,
That's a big guy.
Huge guy. And he decided that he wanted to leave the job site and take a break whenever he wanted to take a break. And here comes me. I just look this way. I'm a giant inside, and it don't matter how big you are or any of that. If you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, thank you, I appreciate that. If you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing, I'm gonna tell you all about it, and not the best way. And so he didn't like the way that I told him that. And but it brought us closer.
Yeah.
It brought us closer. He said,
Sometimes you gotta hear it.
No, 'cause
that's why I was asking about hierarchy helps. Sometimes it helps quicken the speed of something. Like, if you're his boss and there's no ambiguity,
Yeah.
well, you're the authority. And you got to just put him in his place. Not in his place, not like that, but like, hey, you're not here to dilly-dally on your phone or take long bathroom breaks.
Well, see, the thing about me is I do a good job protecting my brand.
Yeah.
Right? And if I hire you and you're on a job site and I sense that my brand is in danger,
Do you have to cut a lot of guys loose?
oh yeah, I've had some really bad stuff happen. I had something so bad happen that you wouldn't even believe it. I probably can't. I had one of my employees leave work with me. We carpooled, and we was accused of committing a very bad crime.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had to deal with it, and I have a contract with the Volunteers of America.
Okay.
Which that's the release program for federal inmates.
Okay.
And I have a contract with the Department of Corrections state.
Okay.
So their release coordinators contact me with inmates getting out, and I have a good guy that has certain certification, right? And normally these guys, see, they have to be at work.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, where do they even get the certifications? Can they get
In
them
there.
in prison?
Yeah, they get them in there. Right?
Okay.
And
Thank
so their parole officer will call me and say they have these certain certifications, hiring them, but it can go bad because some of these guys don't have the right intentions.
Yeah.
Or very much sense. If they do got the right intentions, then it's just they don't got no damn sense.
Do they ever just run off? Like,
I mean,
hey,
what?
I have this opportunity to just get out on work release, and then I'm just going to disappear.
Oh no, I haven't got anyone out on work release.
Yeah, okay.
They've been
So
out.
it's not work release. They're done.
They're done with
done
their
with their
sentence,
sentence.
but they're on
Yeah.
probation.
Got it, okay.
Yeah. So they're usually great. They usually want to be at work, usually work good, but
How many guys do you think you've, like, I don't want to say saved, that sounds cheesy, but like, how many guys have you now, like, created the opportunity for these second chances? Second, and if they're in prison, that's really a third or possibly even a fourth chance.
a lot. I mean, I pride myself on being an impactful person, so I've impacted a lot of lives, if we can frame it like that.
Yeah.
Right? And some guys, whether or not they stayed,
Do they say anything to you? Like, thank God you chose me, or something like that?
that's rare for people to give you your flowers. It's rare for
Yeah.
people. I don't need that. I know why. I know why God has me here. I know what I do and I do well, and I know why I do it, so I know when I'm making progress, and so I can see. Like, for example, I helped one guy, and I had him installing cabinets, and then I had to lay a bunch of people off, so I ended up referring this guy to my other cabinet installers, and so he got a job with them, and then later on he ended up starting his own cabinet installation company. And
That's the American dream right there.
But
Second chance, even though the company falls, going off and starting a new
yeah,
firm.
and so I talked to him about it, and I was like, because it was amazing to me. I had to tell myself, like, damn, you met me, and this is, so I had a major impact on him. And sometimes I got to tell myself, pat myself on the back for that so I can keep going with that, because more times than not, when you put someone in a position to be great, once they're doing great, they forget how they got in the position, and they forget.
But that is actually human nature.
Yeah.
People forget quickly.
Yeah.
They need a lot of people, but that's, sometimes you almost have to not care,
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I don't do it for that. I don't expect it. Matter of fact, I expect them not to give me that. My relationship with the higher power is why I'm trying to do my job, what I'm put here for, and be a good person, and use my talents, my best ability, and impact people's lives for the better. Whether you give me the credit or you acknowledge it, I'm not looking for that. God acknowledges it daily. My life, I'm blessed. Even in my worst days, I'm blessed.
Yeah.
So for those reasons, I don't need it. It would be great to have it. It makes things easier to have it, but you got to be able to not get that and still do what you do.
How, out of curiosity, from the construction end of life, has there been any, like, unusual things that you're seeing in the economy that are slowing things down, or are you just, or not at all? You know, it's what I'm
I
asking
wouldn't-
is like, is the economy good from your perspective, or is it like having tremors? Like right now, I know of a lot of people, especially in tech, that they're just getting laid off left and right. These companies are shrinking, they're shedding people off, and like, what's a tech guy do?
I think-
like I know one person that's been out in like 100 interviews, and nobody's scooping him up, even though he's got a lot of experience and time. But that's tech. You know, I'm curious on construction.
Lumber's high, and it's been
Lumber's
high,
high, yeah.
extremely high. So it makes it tough. It makes everything more expensive. When COVID happened, a lot of the stuff that we needed, as far as powering
was
buildings,
insanity.
it was back ordered
Yeah.
for months. That would set a, you know, we have a, so when we get a CFO for an apartment building, let's say we have a company.
Teach me what that means, CFO.
Just a certification says that we can have tenants live in the building now.
Okay.
You've passed inspections, and now when you get your CFO, that means that now you can have people live in the building.
Got it,
Right?
okay.
Everything's
Yep,
all
yep.
good. Once you get that, once a job supervisor gets that, but your build is pretty much done.
Yeah.
Right? Now there's punch list stuff that has to go on throughout, but you can now have people move in.
Yeah.
But until you get that, people can't move in. So let's just say if you're the billionaire owner and you just built a 75 unit apartment building.
They've really slowed down in Minnesota.
Yeah, but just
Like
to say,
St. Paul, like they stopped.
yeah, and that is where I get most of my money from.
St. Paul.
Apartment buildings.
Yeah.
Yeah, apartment building. But if you, let's just say if you build an apartment building, most of the time you already have those apartments leased out at a certain time.
Sure.
So now, let's just say if the building's not complete
Yeah.
by then, and you got all these people,
What do you do with them?
you have to put them in a hotel.
Wow.
You have to pay.
Wow.
And so now,
So if their lease starts September 1st and the building was going to be ready by August 15th,
Yeah.
but it's now not
It's
going to be
never
ready
done.
until February.
Yeah.
You got to lodge them for that long?
Oh, yeah.
You can't put a caveat on a lease or anything like that? You can't
no,
make
we have a date where there starts to be financial consequences.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Where you're gonna lose money every single
That's
day
scary
if it's not done.
for these guys that put up the big money.
I
Like
mean,
those are risk takers.
But so that has happened because now that there's equipment to power the building.
Yeah,
To
these
get the
big
power.
transformers and
Yeah, you
whatever.
have to get, and that's something takes us 8 months to get those sometimes. So if
Wow.
it's delayed by 4 months, which
Wow.
we just had that case, and yeah, tenants were unhappy.
Wow.
I've had tenants move in when the building was halfway done before. Yeah, it's crazy.
What are you working ever with, like the Ryans and the Dorans and like
Yeah, Doran, I did-
Dominium and these kinds of outfits? or-
I done some work with Doran.
Yeah.
but they're more union companies, and I don't.
You guys aren't union?
No.
You said you're doing a lot of stuff out in St. Paul. Is that going to shift into the city? But even Minneapolis seems like it's completely shut. Like I'm hearing about, you know, I don't know if you're like watching the rent prices in some of these buildings, but they're just kind of like dropping.
I don't really pay attention to that part
Yeah.
of it. Most of our bills are not in the cities.
Where are they?
I got an hour drive each site usually. I got one in Hutchinson,
Oh,
one in North Branch, one in Otsego. So each one of those are an hour away from Prior Lake.
it's a long drive.
Yeah, an hour and 8 minutes to each job site.
Is the Tribe building like apartments too?
No,
Not really.
no.
They're just investing in Mystic.
Yeah.
I was telling you that.
Other businesses too, but
Oh, I've heard there's all sorts of interesting businesses. It's a bank, essentially. It's a giant. It's a hedge. It's like it's an investment bank now. It's not just slots, and it hasn't been slots for a long time. Yeah,
we're getting into sports betting soon.
really.
Yep, we're waiting on that.
I mean, it is the Vegas of the middle of the country. Like you were telling me, it's the only casino this close to an airport, this close to a city. Really,
Second closest casino to a major city.
it's crazy. What's the other one?
Somewhere in New Jersey, I think.
Yeah.
So they're the first closest and they're the
Yeah.
first richest.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It was funny when I asked you if you had like a jingle dress kind of an outfit and if you ever do that, but no.
I don't. I got brothers and friends that do, but
Yeah. But you're never doing the, I mean, can you like, whoa, whoa, you can't do any of that. I don't know if it's a stupid question. I'm just curious.
no,
Yeah.
There's no stupid questions.
Yeah. So what's next? Like,
Next is
yeah.
the music.
Music.
Is the music. The content.
And are you going to keep pushing you yourself
Not
too?
particularly.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah.
I'm very,
But you want to create people.
Yeah, I'm 43 years old. I'm
Yeah.
looking for longevity.
Yeah.
It's a young man's sport. Do I want to run around and perform and do
Have
all
fun.
of that? I'm not particularly.
No.
No, I don't really want the attention that comes
Yeah.
with it. If I had my way, I'd just get my checks and I'd be able to have nice dinners like this and
Yeah.
be low-key and not recognize.
Yeah.
If I had my way.
Be behind the scenes. Yeah. My assumption is, now that this place is so fresh, it's going to be 3 years, and then it's just going to be like a new Mecca.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. We're on our way here.
It's a gift. It's a gift of the upper Midwest. Because I said it earlier, it's unusual. Like, why can't we be Nashville, or why can't we be, Houston or something, or Atlanta? Like, there's no reason why we can't.
I think the mentality has been a crab in a bucket mentality.
But that's kind of a Minnesotan thing, isn't it? Why? I don't understand that. Why is
As far
that?
as the music, we have what you call, what we had is what you call gatekeepers. And these guys, they got relationships or got resources, but they're keeping them away from certain people.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what.
Who were those gatekeepers before?
They call themselves gatekeepers.
Yeah.
I don't want to say who they thought they were, but we're here to show.
They're not them anymore.
No,
They've
it's not-
lost.
There's no thing. It's not a thing.
Yeah. What a fun thing to do, to be able to crush the old guard.
Yeah, it's enjoyable. It's quite enjoyable.
Yeah. I think that's kind of happening though. Like that's kind of happening nationally. And it's not just music and entertainment. It's like YouTube has done that. It has allowed a complete shift and pivot to the individual. You don't need to be kissing that much ass and signing away your soul with these kind of like almost cruel contracts that literally own and enslave people. That doesn't exist. Like that's done. That's over. And that's not ever coming back.
It's not.
No.
They have to be able to adjust.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's what makes us good. We're used to being able to adapt to
Yeah.
our environment, and so we do that very easily. And so other people, and then they find changes, and oh my God, what are we gonna do now? From where I come from, it's always the case. You always gotta figure out.
Were you shocked, not shocked, but were you like surprised at what happened this week with who won? Or not really?
No,
No.
not at all.
Not at all.
No, not me personally.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people. Thank you.
Is that ice cream?
I know a lot of people that were,
Yeah.
but it's the pulse of
It's the pulse of the people. Yeah.
You know.
I was admittedly surprised at how big of a win it was. I didn't expect that. And I'm curious how that's going to affect, especially because this idea of, and I don't know if you're comfortable with talking about this, but I'm curious how this idea of tariffs, if America actually goes into that direction, and how it's going to affect everything. So like in construction, for instance, how much of our like supply chain is not like developed here in the States? Like a lot of stuff gets built overseas, and if they really start slapping 20%, 30%, 60% on this, but then they evaporate the idea of an income tax, and instead everything is just more costly, what will the growing pains be? Will it hurt, or will it just explode creative businesses to plug that need? I'm hoping that it's the latter, that all these people can come up and adapt quickly and start to build internally here in the States, but I don't know that's what's capable. You know, if it just gets too expensive to import shit, people will have to build it again. You know.
I think that I think with Trump in office, one thing for sure is financially we're in good hands. I think that as far as the economy goes, I don't think he's gonna shake it up in a way where it affects major
Not too much.
industries
Yeah.
in a major way. I think one thing we'll get from him is good business when it comes to our economy.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
And
I hope so.
So other things about him, I'm not political. I could care less who won.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's just
It's
how-
not going to affect you.
I mean,
Yeah.
if it hasn't. Everyone says it's supposed to affect me. But
Yeah.
I doubt it's going to affect me. I'm just going to make the necessary changes.
Yeah, adapt quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You seem like you have the capacity to adapt in circumstances
Had to.
at a far superior rate than many others have.
well, that's because I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
You know, I've never voted, so it's not something that I think is even a real thing. A fair thing, should I say? So my opinion is we just gotta do what we gotta do.
You just got to do what you got to do.
We gotta do what we gotta do.
Yeah.
The politics, I try to. It's big in my family. I try to stay out of it. I'm not a political guy, right?
They talk about it at home?
Oh, yeah.
Your family? Yeah.
It's a big deal, But I stay completely out of it. I have my own.
You're Switzerland. You're Switzerland. You don't give a fuck.
No, not really.
Yeah, that's powerful.
No, I don't. I didn't lose any sleep.
I was really I wasted a lot of time thinking about it. You know,
A lot of people have.
a lot of people. I think in some capacity, how you interact with football, just the amount of focus and time and energy you put on that. I've put a lot of that in the last couple years, and I think I hope that it ends up being good, but I'm very surprised. He's easy to. I get it. Some people think he's an asshole, but I kind of like assholes. That's.
I think about the one thing about him is that he voices his opinion.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he lets things fall where they fall.
Yeah.
And most guys, they would not say certain stuff. They wouldn't. For being politically motivated, we need these.
Too careful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does not care.
He doesn't care.
Right?
No.
So
Because what does he have to lose?
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that.
Well, I'm excited to see what Content House turns into. I really appreciate that you decided to connect, because I hope that it turns into something, I don't know what, but, it's good to make friends. And, it doesn't, we tend to be tied to who we're used to, and so, it's, wherever it goes, it's nice to have you in my home. Yeah.
See, I look at it a little bit different. Where I come from in the inner city, most of our relationships are not what I would consider high quality relationships, right? And that's because there's not very many successful people. It's kind
Everybody's scraping.
Yeah, everybody's scraping.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like being born into an area like that is tough.
There's some blocks in North that are still a little bit of a war zone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So high quality.
But you're creating, you got these kids, let's just say 16, 17, maybe there's some interesting talent in their mind. And the fact that this studio exists, the fact that there is this place, it's the idea of the Boys and Girls Club. I don't know if those are great places to be, but it's another option, right? For them to all of a sudden be able to put down some tracks and engineer and all this other thing, and just the natural just of being around different kinds of people that are being creative, like you're gonna actually develop you're gonna develop an industry, okay, that does not exist in Minnesota at all, and it's early, but it will be no weaker than the General Mills. It's going to take time, and to be on the cutting edge of that, the forefront of it, is fucking exciting, and it's just it's such a different kind of, because the entertainment industry is obviously able to bring in massive revenue, right? And for Minnesota to have been as sleepy and quiet as it is, like, it's one thing to just like sell tickets for the Armory, but to go from, well, maybe there's somebody that lives in a shitty neighborhood, but that's creative, creates some music, and then eventually gets on stage of the Armory, and for you to maybe have like this tiny little moment of like there being a little baby, right? And then to see them eventually be like a full-grown man, you know, it's fucking cool. It's cool. It's very exciting.
Why we do it.
Yeah.
Right? And eventually we plan on having this facility on the East Coast.
Yeah.
This is the first of many. So the plan is to have one in New York, have one in Miami.
Satellite sites.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Like a Regis, like a WeWork, but not for just like renting a little office space. We're talking the production of sound and entertainment.
intellectual property to great people in each of these places.
Yeah.
Not just the facility, but the people.
It's a strong network.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna steal that shit from those boys in Hollywood.
Yeah,
Like they think they had it for a long time. Okay, they had that locked for a long time, and it's not theirs anymore. I'm proud. I'm proud of, at the very least, being a spectator, like an audience member, of seeing how it'll turn into something. And yeah, yeah, it's cool. All right, well, I'm gonna wrap up. Jomar, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a nice meal, and you know, I hope, you know, I'm gonna do more real talks, and I hope anybody that's been watching finds the conversation interesting, and if you're curious about anything, if you want to throw in comments or questions, obviously reach out, throw them in the comment section, and you know, like and subscribe, because I need all the subscribers. And yeah, it's the world needs more conversations, because the only reason people may, like, there's one thing, like, you just don't know what you don't know, but conversation gets you there. Conversation is the basis of civilization. You know, if you don't speak to one another, civilization doesn't exist. It's just a bunch of people being overly tribal and separate. And it's these conversations that generate, you know, the remembrance that we're all people and that we all need more friends. It's that simple. Yeah. So, cheers, brother.